Where's the love? Where's the love? It's right here in the heart of the city. I'm Silas Grant, and I got my man with me.
No home.
What's up, Tone?
Man, I'm good, man.
Tony Lucas,
Real good.
man.
Yeah, man. You hear me? You see how I'm coming on today, right? That's, anyway, that's another story, A lot of people wouldn't notice about you. I mean, I think it's a good time to just share with our audience, man.
I'm fine with that. I'm comfortable with that. I'm comfortable.
And I know a lot of people be really, really surprised, man, that I'm not gonna say who you a fan. You can do that.
I'm a Cowboys fan. Let's just get right to it.
A lot of people would be surprised.
I'm gonna get right to
my
it.
man. We don't disagree about much, but this is, But man, I feel like but I'm saying I ain't do this because of that, Holmes. I don't want you be, mad at me this episode and all that, man. I just happen to have this on.
I'm gonna tell you something. I'm gonna just be very honest with you. I got a lot of good friends. I mean, obviously, a lot of people that like the Commanders. Like we in DC, right? I have a hard time, man, liking pictures if like y'all at FedEx and like y'all posted up with it. I can't like the pic.
Yeah, that's different.
I can't like it.
Yeah.
You can have your daughters in there. Beautiful little girls.
Yeah, but if you
got that joint on, it's hard for me to like the picture.
I know, man.
It's hard.
It's all right, man.
I done see some fantastic group pictures from FedEx tailgating, and I want to comment or like, and I just can't.
Yeah, but you should though, bro. Don't set trip like that, man.
I'll be set tripping.
We don't hold it against you, man.
I'm gonna tell you what I don't do either. I don't do the whole bet like you wear a jersey. I can't do that.
Yeah, because I'm not gonna do that.
I'm not gonna do that.
You know what? Speaking of betting, right? So it's like I can't, like if I was betting, I can't bet with y'all.
Yeah.
Even I know y'all, or I might actually feel like, they gonna win. You know what I'm saying? But it's like some
fantasy football. I can't pick no Commanders.
I just can't mess with y'all like that, home. You know what I mean? But anyway, we ain't even gonna do that, man. But I'm doing good, bro. I'm doing all right, man. How about you? You all right?
Man, no worries, man.
Yeah, man. A lot of I do want to raise up a couple things that have happened since last show.
Yeah.
One was Wale was at the Kennedy Center Friday.
So you got the Nike boots on.
Yeah, ain't no question. Yeah. Old to my man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And coming from that to that, coming from Nike boots to performing at the Kennedy Center, man. And in Mayor Bowser being able to designate November 10th as Wale Day. I know that was a major thing. LaToya, the mayor, I know that was the same night as the chamber,
right?
The DC Chamber Gala. So the mayor couldn't make it, but LaToya was there. And it was LaToya did a beautiful, reading of the proclamation. I thought that added. It wasn't just like, oh, here you go. You know what I mean? She read it, and she read it with conviction and passion and meaning. You know what I'm saying? And that joint was packed. I was, also, it was a great night for me. Like my dad was there, Jessica was there. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the homies was there. Big E, Dre, KJ. You know what I'm saying? Like it just was a beautiful night. Something else too, and after that I thought it was super important. It was on my heart though. And I guess this tying to the other major thing that happened in my mind, I wanted to raise up, but in the conversation just about not only just like Wale, but and then we talk about our music and go and the city and all that. Man, I be feeling like Trey don't get his flowers enough.
I saw you make a story on that.
Yeah, man, because that joint just was on my mind, man, and and seeing the both of them perform together, right? In the band too, right? But I'm just saying, seeing Wale and Trey all over the country, I've seen them perform in all different, from small venues to state, whatever. I've seen them, you know what I mean, and what that duo and what Trey is meant. You know what I'm saying?
I had a conversation with somebody about Trey, and the person I was talking to laid out the case for him in terms of his contribution. And when you really sit back and think about it, it's hard to argue against him being one of the top 2 or 3 contributors to music.
Yeah, seriously, you can't. It's not. And so many people are not aware of all of his contribution, right? In its fullness, but I think, and you know, it's not, I don't think it's ever intentional for people not to talk about him. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's just he don't come to mind. Then plus you think about it, even in the band, you know, in a go-go band, the most important person is the lead mic. You know what I mean? And so in UCB, Trey wasn't the lead mic. You understand what I'm saying? That's just not. I mean, he was quote unquote second, but he wasn't the lead mic, right? So you had that in the Wale dynamic. Wale is the act. Trey is always in a supporting role. Is what I'm getting at. To the public anyway. You know what I'm saying? But his contributions and his consistency. You know what I'm saying? And then I don't know if people even understand that we could talk about like the Sexy Lady record. I don't think people understand how that record be getting played outside of Washington.
Yeah. Again, me having gone to Hampton, I've seen the response.
Yeah.
That a diverse audience has when that comes on. And the thing about that song is that they do have a version where they go into like a riff of like some sampled music, right?
Right.
Extended version, but the standard version of it is an original song.
That's right.
So there's no confusion on people responding because it's a sample or something else.
That's right. It's that. It's that, man.
Yeah.
And so I felt as much as it was beautiful to see Wale at the Kennedy Center, but for him to have Trey there and Slump and Eric and you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just the whole thing, man. It was beautiful, bro. It was really it was almost spiritual. And shout out Chico Bean. Chico kind of MC'd the joint. You know what I'm saying? Like while he had a little monologue in the beginning for fun. Man, as we know, Chico has become a national star, right? So Chico funny everywhere. But when you from here, the things that another crowd won't get, like the little nuanced stuff.
He up that cloth. He up that Martin Lawrence cloth.
Man,
he up that
man.
All them guys.
And I've always thought about this as far as comics, right? For comics, the good ones, the great ones, right? Man, they are so intelligent. You know what I mean? They're witty. They're smart. Like to be able to grab things and like pair them together and make them funny. You know what I'm saying? Obviously, you see it in all the greats, right? But he got that. You know what I'm saying? He got
one
that.
of them ones.
Man, funny as shit, man.
Yeah.
But so it was good. He was a part of that night, so that was cool. The other thing, earlier today, the ribbon cutting for the Mobile Go-Go Museum. So shout out to Ron Moten and all his hard work. One thing about Mo, you've been knowing Mo decades at this point and working with Mo alongside Mo in different various ways. And Mo is a guy you might not always see eye to eye with Mo, or may not see something the same way he see. But the one thing you ain't gonna never, ever, ever, ever question about Ron Moten, man, is his work ethic, bro.
Yeah, he not cutting no corners.
Bro. You know how they use the term like the hardest working man in show, but man, Mo don't stop, man. And when Mo say he gonna do something, you know what I'm saying? You can believe that he gonna get it done, man. So the go-go music, the mobile joint, basically, it's like when you go on, it's like I guess the size of like a bigger than a Sprinter van, but like like one of them tour bus type joints, but not like a music tour bus, but like the bus that might transport students from one part of campus to the other, that type
one of them hospital type.
Providence, one of them type of joints,
Brooklyn Station type.
Exactly. Right, and so it has on the top, the band to be able to play, as Backyard did today, climb up on the top and play on the top. So ideally that van could drive around or drive to any location and set up. Inside they got these digital like boards where one of them show you all the records that have sampled go-go.
Okay,
you can just kind of go through and listen to all the different. It'll play the song, whatever the mainstream song is, and it'll play the go-go version or whatever. Because we always talk about, like you just alluded to, we talk about like how go-go samples mainstream music, right? But people don't understand how much mainstream music has sampled go-go. pull riffs and pull a little whatever, right? So you got that. Then you got a hologram of Big G. It's crazy, like a screen. It's a hologram of Big G, and you can ask Big G questions, and G talk back to you.
Really?
Yes. And then on the walls and stuff, you got like old go-go posters. And then there's another screen where you could do, just learn about go-go history or whatever the case may be. And then you got stuff from like the poster that they put up of us in the Smithsonian around the Don't Mute DC stuff.
Right.
That's up in there. Yeah, so it was just, man, it was dope. And so the other thing is that now they're gonna start construction of what was Checky Enterprises. You know what I'm saying? Well, I guess that's 1920 MLK.
Yes.
That's gonna be the actual go-go museum. So they're gonna build out, actual museum. I think it's gonna have a cafe in there.
They got the Walk of Fame coming, or is it already?
Nah, I think that's coming too. That's gonna be a part of the
Okay.
part of the museum. So anyway, yeah, man. Those were two big things for the culture this week or since the last episode, man. That's it really made my heart smile on both ends just to see. And back I was out there today, man, playing and people on MLK. You know what I'm saying? And it make you think about us, like DC natives, our place in the city, our influence in the city, our contributions to the city. But what we always try to talk about is that I think the not to speak for nobody else, but me being at the foundational to some of that the Don't Mute DC movement. Obviously DC natives before that, what we did or whatever. The whole goal was like for us not to be talked about solely on what happened in the past. You know what I'm saying? And that these movements to save our culture was under the guise that we understood culture can't be preserved without the people that participate in that culture. Mm-hmm. So the ultimate goal really was for more focus and attention and resources and opportunity to be connected to the people that participate in that culture. You know what I mean? And I hope we are, making steps, to move in that direction. And it's going to take a lot of effort. We really got to attack poverty and unemployment. I mean, in D.C., black people have 9 times the level of unemployment than our white counterparts. That's the largest disparity in the United States. Like
9 times.
9 times. I mean, because the reality of it is white unemployment in Washington, D.C. is pretty much non-existent.
Yeah, unless you just retire.
Yeah.
They don't even deem you as unemployed. You just retire.
I think that's for, around the country where people have a hard time grasping about DC is we don't have a poor white population.
Oh, no question. We don't have it.
We may not even have a middle class. You know what I'm saying? And so the other side of that, too, not the other side of that, but another thing I think people miss here. I'm not saying our brown brothers and sisters in terms of like Latino population. I'm not saying, or Hispanic population. I'm not saying that like they're wealthy. I'm not saying that at all. But by the numbers, right? In Washington, in D.C., our Latino population may be the most thriving Latino population in the United States.
I can see that.
You know what I'm saying? And then when you look at, again, black people that's not from here, they're on par with the white people that are here.
Right.
Right?
Now you isolated to black DC natives.
The black DC, you know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And so that's where, and I shout out to Mayor Bowser and Dr. Unique Morse Hughes, who's the director of the Department of Employment Services, and Delano Hunter, who's the director of DGS. Today also was at a ribbon cutting. The Infrastructure Academy gonna open at Spingarn, which Delano a graduate. So I thought that was cool.
Oh yeah, I ain't think about that.
I thought that was really cool. You know what I mean?
That's got to be rewarding.
Yeah, it got to be. He about to head head up the redevelopment of his high school. You know what I mean?
Yeah, high school that was really written off otherwise, right?
Sure.
And now, okay, we gonna repurpose it.
Yep. And put something there that's gonna hopefully impact what we just discussed. Hopefully it's gonna impact black unemployment. Hopefully it's gonna impact black median income. And then like to me, that's the only way, like sustainable way that we also attack, the level of crime that we've been seeing in our communities. Yeah. I think that's the real way. That's one of the mechanisms for us to truly make our community safe again.
Yeah. You are you afraid when you go outside now? At all?
Afraid, probably too strong of a word for me. But I am more cautious than I would like to be. But I think I am afraid when my aunt goes out, when my wife goes out with my kids, or my aunt picking my kids up. There is fear attached to that something will happen to them when I'm not there. And I think that's something that Washingtonians and even people just in the DMV around, in our area is grappling with. I think people are definitely afraid. You know what I'm saying? I know my gauge, if you will. You've seen so many things, been through so many things. You know what I mean? I think I'm desensitized to a certain degree. Certain things that may outrage other people, to me it's not okay. But it's just like you've been through it before. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like it's been normalized, and that's sad. But it is, I know that's my reality, right? But man, it's things that have happened to me in the last maybe 3 years that never happened to me before, right? So I'm just saying stuff like people breaking in my car. Yeah. I'm talking that kind of shit, right? Somebody stealing a package off my steps. You know what I mean? Like, that stuff like that never happened to me. And we live in where we live at my whole life, but things like that didn't happen. And because I feel like this, like if we talking about the crack epidemic. You grew up with people getting high, and people getting high, addicts gonna take shit. You know what I'm saying? Addicts gonna take stuff, but we are in a new space where, but in those days, back in the day, let me say it like that, back in the day, those people that was around your way doing whatever it was that they was doing, you knew them. You know what I mean? Today, it's like, it was never no random people coming through Hanover, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But today, it's like random people. You know what I mean? People that's not, you got transient folks, people that's not, so much from the neighborhood. Mm-hmm. And I think that a lot of that gentrification has caused a lot of that sort of lack of, cohesion in the community, which makes some people, I think,
and the ground rules dissipate.
Yeah.
As a result.
Facts.
Because I think what happens, I experienced the same thing in my neighborhood. It was no strangers, right? And then now, I think lifestyle has co-joined people in a way that proximity used to co-join people, right? So we might have had different lifestyles, but we lived among each other and we respected each other. But now, whether you getting high or you seeing what you like on your phone, like lifestyle, whatever it is you're doing, it's allowing you to connect with people, and people are now hanging together and being in each other's presence, and they really may not even know each other as well because they didn't have the previous proximity, right? You didn't have the evaluation process of this friendship. And so now they bringing people to neighborhoods that they wouldn't have normally brought.
Yep.
Those people are really laying their bags down and like putting their stake in the ground in those neighborhoods. And then you living like two doors down. Like, who is that guy?
Yeah, who is he?
He been right here for the last 6 weeks. Who is he?
He looking at me like,
Who
am I?
Yeah.
You know? And I think that those dynamics definitely have had to readjust and, you know what I'm saying, adapt to sort of this new way of things. And, the idea that people are just random, no matter, it used to be like, just think about like carjacking, right? You would think like, before that people was getting carjacked that had nice cars.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they took that joint, got nice, you know what I'm saying? But like the level of like how random things appear to be today versus like, I just feel like back before, bro, like you could just make sense of certain stuff.
Yeah. But then I think about my mother had a Plymouth K car and she had a club on it.
Yeah. Yeah, but you know what? But I'm glad you said that. You talking about now or
I mean back in the day, yeah.
But check this out. Mm-hmm. I was just about to say this though. Now, back in the day, people would steal.
Oh, I got you.
You see,
you know what? It's funny you said that. I'm sorry to cut you off now, but I've had to catch myself to make sure I delineate carjacking from stealing cars.
Yeah, it is different.
It is a difference.
It is a big difference.
Yeah. But
you feel me?
Yeah,
so I'm saying people would like steal like Honda Accords and all that, whatever the easiest car to
remember
steal.
Remember the Camry key car?
No.
The Camry key?
No.
You remember that?
No, what's that?
So there was like
Shorty was stealing cars. What's that?
But it was in them cars.
You, man. Remember that was a thing in our era too.
So this was like this probably was like 96, 97. But the model of car was like a 94 Camry. Okay. And I could be wrong on this, but I'm almost certain I'm not. They had like a universal key.
Oh, yeah.
So back in again, like, I remember guys my age, 16, 17, it always had Camrys.
Where would you get the Joe from, though, the master key?
Here go the thing, though. I think they had a universal key where, like, if you owned a Camry, your car...
Oh, your key go to everybody
Camry. So okay. All right, so a little bit of backdrop, right? So you've been on my parents' block, right? Yeah. My parents' block was like Switzerland. And every other block around it was crazy, on fire, right? Yeah. So if I walked one block over, it was crazy. But everybody kind of parked their cars on our block. Right? So the guys that live the block over this way, east, west, south, north, one way over, if they had a UU, they parked it on our joint, and like it was a quiet little street and they could walk off, right? And there was a period like a year long where like Camrys was pulling up and parking. Yeah. You didn't have to break in them. All you had to do was get the key.
That's crazy. I missed that, you know?
Yeah, the Camry. I mean, and that was a thing. People knew about that.
You know, Will B say, man, you ain't a hustler with your car key.
You get car key?
Yeah, I ain't do that. That wasn't even my lane, you feel me? Yeah, I ain't even watch New Jersey Drive, man. I ain't knowing this. Like, we wasn't knowing that. But nah, but in that era though, like you talked about the club or car alarms, all that, because people was stealing cars.
And they used to take the radio face off.
Exactly. Yeah. Take the face, all that, because people was. So I don't like the idea of, and then even in that day, carjacking did evolve too though, right? Where people stop, but you would think that the carjacking then, and I don't want to romanticize the then or like justify, but it just seemed like they was taking cars that were like, you know, nice cars, or, you know, it wasn't just, again, appearing to be like so completely random. But I also question, does it feel different now? Obviously too, like if you talking about Tony and Silas, you know, we talking about 14, 15-year-olds versus 43, 44-year-olds, if, you know, in terms of the lens of then and now, right? But the fact, though, that you're bombarded by everything, these alerts, what's happening, it makes you even if you're not conscious of it, in your subconscious, it's a heightened sense of things. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, I think I was telling you offline the other day. I don't, sign up for the alerts. A part of that was when I was working in government, right? Just having to respond to a lot of the crime. And for some reason, like, the alerts don't always show me stuff everywhere like I had intended to get with the alert query or whatever. And but I tend to get all the alerts like Columbia Heights, Petworth for some reason, right?
Yeah.
And like, bro, a Friday or Saturday now, to that point about alerts and getting information, it feel like the NFL red zone.
Yeah.
Sometimes like for an hour, like carjacking, 4300 block of 14th Street, carjacking, third and Upshur. And these texts are coming through, and I'm like, yo, this is all, I can visualize what they did to get where they got from the last scene.
Yeah, plus because
and this description, the same car, same number of guys in it.
They busting them, they busting they plays. And it's crazy. And it's like, it's one of them things where, like, being you hear this all the time, where the police need, we need more police, whatever. I'm not one to, like, be arguing back and forth with people about whether they right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? The question, though, that I be having for folks is that we say that like it ain't the police in a lot of these cases are close by. But police this ain't a movie, right? And I think the person today does not have the confidence in the police that they will catch them. It's not that they aren't worried about getting caught or that they don't care about getting caught. That's not the reality. They're just confident that they won't get caught, right? Now, it's one of them things, though, where we have to ask ourselves, in generations past, did the mere presence of the police make people not try their hand, right? What I'm saying is, we're in a time where they trying their hand, right? They are saying, okay, Mr. or Mrs. Police Officer, you right there on that block, I'm going to go half a block down and I'm going to see what's up with you. And it's like, and so or the police may say, well, we so short number that we only can be like on these main thoroughfares, right? But Joe Blow, and for the first time in my lifetime, you've never had the have and the have-nots right beside each other. That's another newer dynamic, bro.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Like, people ain't just start getting robbed, right? But it's the kind of people, like, we have people now that will report being robbed. Like,
I'm going to come back to that.
Okay, go ahead, bro.
I'm going to come back to that. So let's please put a pin in that, because I want to talk about that too. But what just came to my mind was, because we always talk about them youngins, right? Youngins committing the crime, right? When we were young, and maybe it might be different in your community than it was in mine. In my area, it seemed like the older guys in my neighborhood would warn us about police officers. It was almost like they were like, I don't want to say romanticizing, but we had officers in our neighborhood that it was like, yo, that dude right there, like, he ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah.
Whereas today, every neighborhood got their guys antagonizing police. And I think the younger kids today don't have the same reverence for police that we did. Like, we had a dude in our neighborhood, right?
I can believe that.
It was an Officer Bingham. They called him Shake 'em Down, right? So, like, Shake 'em Down, legendary in my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and they called him that because when he was coming through, he was going to search you. He was going to shake you down.
Yeah, facts.
You know what I mean? And you had guys that ran on him, guys that got into altercations with him. He was like a ruthless guy, right? But on the force. But he was...
Ragganin was like that, though.
That's
that's how it was on the force, though.
But it's like now that guy, if he was coming through the ranks today, somebody would have been on IG antagonizing him.
And the police also some police officers probably would say, yeah, you can't, that style of policing can't happen today.
That's true too.
And it's one of the things though we do gotta kind of, and then one may say, oh, that police like that got more respect, kept things in line. But then if you was a guy that was outside every day, you'll be like, yeah, but that police officer robbed me. That police officer locked me up for nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's a give and take in that style of policing. You know what I mean? Just like, and it's like we gotta find, or it's also a give and take in people being able to cut their phone on every time. You know what I'm saying? Some benefits to that, but then you be like, all right, but it's everything. If a police officer is pursuing somebody that's committing a crime, right? And this even from a street perspective. Dudes know you break the law, you do something. In my era, anyway, let me say that. You know what I mean? I don't know what these youngins, how they look at it now. But like, if you do something, if you breaking the law, you gonna go to jail. A street dude understand that. You know what I mean? So if a police catch you in the mix, catch you breaking the law, you gonna pull your phone? How you blaming the police?
Yeah.
You got caught. You know what I'm saying?
That's the game.
That's the game.
And I mean, even back then, the police would tell you, listen, I see what you're doing. If I catch you,
facts.
They would have a conversation that would almost an understanding.
Almost an understanding. But so on that level, I think we got outrageous with the every time, and then you know what I'm saying. But then we got a group of people today, even outside of the police, their level of respect for anything just ain't what it once was. They respect for their mother, they respect for their grandmother, they respect for their big homie, their reverence to who came before. So there's a lot of things that are out of whack. That's what I'm saying. None of this stuff, I always tell people, like, none of this stuff is an island. It's not, that behavior is not just in regards to the police. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So, but I think about the ways in which, like, when you start talking about the way our community was policed when I was growing up, you know what I mean? A person, police jumping out on us 5-6 times a day, searching you 5-6 times a day, don't matter what time of the day, who out there with you, know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we grew up like that.
So,
but I just want to get to a point real quick. But one of the things I think this generation, we talking about the fathers with the camera and bro, and my father came home, and that was the one thing I think stood out the most to him, was like, yo, they can just stand out there like that. Or where the police don't be jumping out. It blew his mind because, but, sometimes, laws have been put in place for people to not be profiled, stop and frisk, not to be treated like an animal, not to be, because it wasn't, nobody ever differentiated the guy that was involved in criminal activity from the guy that wasn't. When you came from these neighborhoods and you was young and you was black, all y'all in the mix. And that ain't no way to live. And so I hear people almost calling for that, though. That's what I was getting at, right?
Yeah.
And I think, but those people ain't never lived like that.
Yeah.
So be careful what y'all requesting out there.
So that's what I was getting at earlier about the whole idea of, like, when you talked about being a victim, because obviously, to your point, when a guy who's knee deep in the game in that previous generation would give himself up, like, you know what, you got me, right? Yeah. I'm not about to go back and forth. I was in the wrong, right? And you talked about being patted down several times a day, every day, potentially being assaulted by a police officer, right? Potentially having drugs planted on you.
100%.
Like, all that was going
100%.
on, right? That was real deal.
Yeah, nigga putting his hand on your nuts and your butt and all that. Nah, for real.
That was happening,
Been through all that with them
happening.
peoples, man.
So you take a person who is just hanging out there, they not doing anything illegal for the most part, if not at all, right? They kind of take on that same stance of, I'm just going to roll with the punches.
Yeah.
I work every day, or I'm in college or high school. I'm going to school every day. They've wronged me, but I wouldn't dare file a complaint.
Facts.
Right?
That's hot.
Right. They
I remember saying, that's what you taught, though.
Yeah, you taught that,
yeah,
right?
You know.
So Now,
deal with this shit.
I think some of us who hung out and had that affiliation with our respective neighborhoods, we still carry some of those sort of principles. And I wonder, and I ask you, this is my question to you, like, when your car got broken in, like, do you see yourself as a victim?
No. And that's crazy because I had one,
Yeah.
been one multiple times. Right, that's what I'm saying. It's almost, but it's also I think that got so much to do with the culture we grew up in. Like, man, I ain't no victim. Can you? Because for one, for me for you to categorize yourself as a victim is like, who doing that? I ain't never no victim, but I am. Like, you know what I'm saying? I mean, in the definition of it. Yes, if somebody has victimized me, I don't need call the police. Like a friend of mine,
I was about to ask
car
about
got
that
broken
too.
into. Yeah, I don't even know what's the number. Sorry, no. Well, I can't. You talking about? Remember when you talking about I can't like the picture?
Yeah, you can't even. Yeah,
I can't even dial 911 for like.
I
Listen,
think I've only dialed 911 twice, and in one time it was like
Sorry, no. Oh, hey y'all, this might be the last.
Might be the last joke.
No. Let me say that. Let me stop playing though.
was
Call 911. We gotta say
you
that.
gotta
We
call,
joking.
yeah,
Not for real. I mean that, y'all.
call.
I'm telling the truth about, but not for real. Call if somebody victimizes you in any form or fashion. Joe Blow citizen, Mr. and Mrs.
T.I.?
Do the right. Yeah. Call crabs. But you have you have that right, you know what I'm saying, to do that. They messed me up growing up, and I'm fully transparent about that. You know what I'm saying?
But
You know what I mean?
the two times I called, it was like a fire or something like an electrical fire or something like that.
Yeah, look, that is.
And then, and then one time when I was living down in school, the house got broken into, and I wasn't on the lease. So it was like, I gotta, you know what I mean? Like, I need to call the police to at least report it so that my man who is on the lease, he got a report for
insurance,
the landlord,
or whatever,
and insurance. Yeah. So like, but other than that,
that's not the default for us,
ain't the
right?
default,
Because,
yeah.
but I think that's cultural. That the police don't. This in the cultures we growing up in, it's like, but the police not there to come and help us. We don't call the police. It's not like. That's just that's the framework.
That's the framework you're thinking from.
Right? But, and it's like for people breaking in my car, I'm like, well, I'm just going to call Geico. I got insurance. There's no need. I don't need a police report for them to come and replace my window. Now, if I need it, I would have to call them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But I think that that is really that's unfortunate, and that's trauma. You know what I'm saying? A person, because as a husband, as a father, you know what I'm saying? As a taxpayer, you know, that really shouldn't be my thought. You know what I'm saying?
Because it starts with the people in the street not seeing themselves as victims, then the guys who are kind of adjacent to them. And I would go as far as to say, like, looking back in that time period, I don't even think most of my neighbors saw themselves as victims.
Yeah, I mean,
so,
but too, I think back then, also, right, you had a deeper sense of community that we leaned on each other.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You know, and it's also like you came up. The reluctance to call the police back then was mainly about two. It may be people in your direct proximity that was not law abiding. You know what I'm saying? So like you you calling them to your house where there may be illegal activity going on. Like I'm saying, depending on the situation. Now, of course, if somebody gets hurt, somebody gets shot, stabbed, people gonna call 911 for the police, for the ambulance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
A fire, something like that. I never forget. This is probably, I don't know, 2005 maybe, and we had one of the people that lived next door to me was like different people live, they like had roommates in it. But anyway, it was a shooting on O Street. It's like middle of the day, so the police came, pull me and her was outside. Me and the white girl was outside. So the police pull up, and he was like, "Y'all hear any shots?" I didn't say nothing. I ain't say no or no. I just didn't say anything. And she was like, She was like, yeah, I think so, right, Tony? I was like, I don't know. Like that, right? So he just, you know what I mean, continues to ride on. She said, oh my God, Tony, am I a snitch? Am I a snitch? I was like, nah, because I was like, nah. I was like, no. I'm like, no. She's like, well, why didn't you say anything?
Right, yeah.
I was like, well, we not the same. I said, and I didn't even mean, I was like, nah, you did exactly what you should have done.
Yeah.
You know, I said, and I said, why would I have to say something if you handled that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You handled it. But that was a time when I was like, but as a community member, as a citizen, right? As a member of community, I'm not adverse to police officers. I'm not adverse to police officers doing their job, being in my community.
Right.
But for me, especially at that, but for me, I wasn't conditioned that way. And, you know, I had not developed positive relationships with police officers, you know, at that point in my life. You know what I'm saying? Around I'm not, and but I also never been a person that like, and I do believe like people that come from street culture, they're not, I don't not like the police for doing their job.
Yeah.
I ain't never been, the police lock up people up. Nah. Yeah, the people that we recognize that the people that they locking up, breaking the law. But do it, follow your rules, have integrity, be professional, be respectful.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's the ask. The ask has never been, so it's not like, so because and when you grew up how we grew up and where I grew up at, like a lot of other people, you saw officers cross lines and abuse power every day, all day, bro. Did things that they did not have to do. In the reality of it, from a systemic standpoint, that brutality, it never made people get in line. That's the thing that I even like that's you never gonna get people to get in line by over punishment, super brutal. That never has worked. Human beings don't move like that. You might win that day. You might, assert your authority that day. Mm-hmm. But long-term stuff, for long-term respect, has to be built through, you know what I'm saying, dignity and you seeing people, humanity. And the officers that I think have been the most effective back then and today are the officers that lead with respect. Officers that assert like, yeah, I'm on your ass though. If you out here hurting people, you out here victimizing people, you going to jail. And I don't think nobody pushing back on that for real. You know what I'm saying? That this conversation too got me, just, it was in my mind. I'm thinking about the conversation between them two youngins that then went viral. The two youngins, you know what I mean, bartering about what's worse, taking a life or robbing somebody or carjacking somebody.
And just for the record, this is not to sensationalize or glamorize what happened in that video, but just for the record, just to be honest, that ain't a new conversation.
It's not.
That happens a lot in the neighborhood.
And it happens a whole lot.
Yeah.
But again, now it's able to be captured.
On the phone.
It happened when we was young.
When Jada could say you get the same time Gotti got. They been talking about that.
Been talking about that. And especially in our era, well, the conversation used to be so much about they catch you with that crack on you. How much time they gonna give you? The crack and the gun. How much time they gonna give you? You understand what I'm saying? But also, what was very clear in that though, is that these are babies, man.
Babies, yeah.
They babies, and that should be it shouldn't sound. To me, it shouldn't be just about, oh, we gotta lock they little ass up. What it's about, with the first trip, who do they belong to? What is those families going through that they are out here, you know what I mean? And it's almost like the conversations about like this what we on. It ain't no, they ain't saying like, yeah, I ain't getting in the car unless they gonna bust twist. That's getting back to the police. They gonna run. They ain't gonna get away. You know what I mean? You know, they really. It's so much to be seen there in that joint. But I think about when I was them. Not never like I'm saying. I don't mean that in the sense of not having no guidance or being, you know what I'm saying? When I was that age, and when me and my peers was talking about, like I just said, but we wasn't, we used to look down on youngers who wanted to go and steal cars. You know what I'm saying? But when you had, I did a 13-year-old or 12-year-old, 13-year-old when we was coming up could go and start selling crack. You know what I'm saying? That joint was right out front, right on your block. But it was the same. But what's the same is probably what's driving that. Dysfunction in the household. Single parent household. Mother struggling or mother addicted or, you know what I'm saying? Father locked up, father dead, father getting high. You know what I'm saying? That's as a community, we convinced ourselves that we left that dynamic back there.
Yeah, I just was in a group chat today where somebody said something about crack babies, and then somebody else responded and said, nah, them ain't crack babies, they after crack. Yeah. But I would push back a little bit like, nah, there's some people still on crack, but it's also people on other drugs that
Facts. That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But what if his mother the crack baby though? He ain't the crack baby, yeah, maybe, but his mother is. Yeah. You see what I'm saying? That's the part that I think we really, some of the shock and awe is warranted. Mm-hmm. But some of it is rooted in either people who just got here and been here for whatever. I mean, even say the last 10 years or whatever, right? Or less. And you came here for all the glitz and the glamour and the brunches and the clubs and the lucrative jobs and everything, right? All the things that we all love. And they convinced you that, again, all the things that you had heard about for DC that they tried to just say was the 80s and the 90s and maybe the early 2000s, right? Was gone. And that, you know what I mean? People like the guy Tony Lewis just be, I don't know what he be talking about. What you mean DC a powder keg?
Yeah.
For real, you know, even some people have had the courage to say that to me. What you talking about? Or some people I know maybe thought it but didn't say it. What do you look around? Look at all look at all these buildings. Look at all it. And I'm saying, yeah, look at them. And then look who missing. Look who not included. You work with Washingtonian, you know, you work with native Washingtonian under 50, and you know somebody, it's a friend of yours. You know, these kind of real questions, right? Because we operate in both worlds. So when you think that, again, these people that we work with that call, you know, and they having kids and grandkids, but you see the state that they're in. So if the grandmother, grandfather, father, mother, father, aunt, uncle, whatever, in despair, we know that they call Silas Grant. They call Tony. You know what I'm saying? They call whomever. What do you think their kid and grandkid gonna be? What do you think? What you talking about that framework? What do you think they framework gonna be? Then, not to mention, then boom, all of us go through the pandemic. What do you think? What you think? You think these kids just gonna be, and then they walking in school bills, no disrespect to God bless all the teachers in school, but I'm just saying, even when you go in schools, when you see like that, who in this building really relate to them youngins? And relate to they parents and their grandparents. What? And it ain't no effort to bring that, to bridge those gaps. There ain't no effort for
especially that. in the space of actual instruction. There are other staff members that do other roles, but like that intense instructional space, that specifically is where you want to go.
You got the behavior techs and all. But far as connecting to that student, in the way in which that student buy into what you delivering up there, will be being in school, be seeing it. And I'm not saying that's at every school, but what I mean is there's a gap of we're not in spaces where we need to be. Now, I'm all for, people may say, but it ain't a lot of people qualified to be in those spaces. I have to say I know. Like it ain't. That's not even up. But what are the efforts to get people there? We've decided that we're just gonna. Well, hey, that's the way it is. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. And so that has everything to do with what we seeing now starting to like what's rearing this ugly head in community that leads us to be like, man, which route I'm gonna go home? Oh man, who was that beside me? Oh, what them youngins up to?
Put my bag in the trunk.
Put my bag in the trunk, or leave my doors unlocked. I leave my windows down. I just don't bust the window, home. Just go in it. Don't bust. So it's all, we have to be very intentional. This has nothing to do with, yes, lock up, because I'm so tired of, like, it's people, again, what I'm saying is you cannot lock that mindset up. So you can, people get locked up. I think it's important for us to, you know what I mean?
I was going to say this, right? I got to say this. And we've talked about this years ago, but I got to say this on the record. Please do not talk to me about people not getting locked up if you don't have people in your phone that have been locked up, that you don't know people. Because, bruh, we all know people that's in the feds forever. They not coming home.
They running all this, and like everybody that go to court coming home, everybody catch a charge. That's bogus, bro.
That's bogus. Yeah.
And I do know this since you know, let's say since the emergency crime bill that happened in the summer. I think the jail population that went up like 500. The DYRS and all that is at the max. Yeah. Do you feel safer?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Yeah.
Now this is what I want to hear from people.
Yeah.
Do you feel safe? Do you? To me, right? We like almost 250 homicides, right?
Yeah.
Previous gun offenders and all that. You catch another child, they been holding you, stepping you back. Do you feel safer? No. The answer is no. You don't feel like things is getting better?
But I think this space is one of the only spaces where you don't have to have any institutional knowledge to really understand.
Yeah, you topic. Just blabbering over. You try and sound sweet on Twitter, or what you think. You keep saying people are getting locked up. But when JoJo get locked up, Momo step up.
Yeah.
If you don't address the root causes, if we don't, and even around, like, I absolutely believe that, like, healing, mental health, all that is essential. It's foundational. But it's not gonna be engaged to the level that it should be until people feel stable or hopeful. You can't just leave. That has to be there, but you gotta map it out for people that, look, you going through this, and the next step is this, and why you doing this, and they can put the end goal. We didn't shore it up the end goal, right? Yeah. Now it's so ambiguous, and then you again, how credible are the people that we're sending to engage with people that are most disconnected, whether they're youth or adult? Why don't we take the level of detail and intention in these matters? I've seen us just feel like anybody can, you know what I'm saying, do the work, or anybody can read. Nah, we got to take this super serious. You know what I mean? Same way I see them. I don't see us move with the diligence with the in the way that we do with, say, as it relates to like law enforcement. You know what I'm saying? We very intentional on the law enforcement side. When we start talking about on the social services side and things like that, we don't lend the same. You know, we that show up in budget too.
Yeah, you talk about that a lot.
You know what I mean?
You know, we do emergency for crime, but we don't do emergency for securing people's opportunities.
Facts. And how is it not seen the same? Because what do you think? Again, you can lock as many people up as you want. You never going to lock away. Listen, if locking people up only was the answer, we would not be here in 2023 in the District of Columbia. Washington, D.C. has been one of the top jailers in America for the last 40 years. That's why it's like mind-blowing to me, like when people be talking like, yo, If you a native Washingtonian, tell a person from here.
Don't nobody get locked up.
Don't nobody get locked up.
Yeah. That's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. My friends started going to jail at 10 and 11 years old. Same thing, like you know what I mean? But even then, what we talk about, and this is another thing, we act as if our systems make people better. So you know what I mean? So like just going to jail is the answer based on what? That person gonna leave the community, but guess what? 95% of people, everybody that leave the community, guess what they do? They make it back. So that's not, they coming back. We don't even have a system that makes that person better. So that when they do come back, we don't have to work. You know what I'm saying?
There's so many closed doors that the urge to commit a crime, to stabilize yourself, is there because the doors that really we could open,
fact,
we're not opening.
We won't open them.
We won't open them. Yeah.
You know what I mean? But we keep talking about. So really, we're causal. Our actions as a society is causal in what we see in the community. That's not justifying or making no excuse. You know what I mean? We don't even have to listen. One thing about it, that's why it's also laughable that poor black people are getting away with crimes. Like, stop playing.
Yeah. In
the sense of like the system turning a blind eye is what I'm saying.
Got you.
That's what I mean. Let me clarify. People do get away with crimes, they don't get caught, right? You know what I'm saying? But people making this narrative as if like there's the city just don't care or they don't. Man, come on, man. Yeah. Like, come on, man. Like, let's be for real.
You think there's any benefit for them doing that? There's no benefit for them doing that. Which I think speaks to the fact that even if you toughen sentences, it doesn't make it easy for you to catch them.
That's what these people don't understand, right? Okay, everybody keeps saying, you don't think they trying to lock people up, bro? Yeah. People getting away. I mean, and that's what, even with it, remember the time when they talked, a lot of the cases weren't getting prosecuted and da. Well, you have to bring a case that can be prosecuted.
And you have to also remember, you got to bring a case that can be prosecuted, but you also have to remember that if I am person A, where my case could not be brought forth and they dropped it, do you think that all of a sudden, under the same conditions, some magical formula is going to drop in my lap and I'm going to change my life tomorrow? No, I'm going to get locked up at some point.
Facts.
I'm in the game.
I'm outside.
Yeah, it's going to happen.
And I think people too also underestimate the sophistication. It's like one part sophistication, but then the other side of it is like how brazen it is. It's so brazen that you can't stop it. So our best bet as a community is to reach people, have opportunity and hope to a point where people would choose not to do it. Because we have to grapple with the fact that we may not be able to. I think that's what we are grappling with now. Nobody is going to say it. What if you can't stop it?
Yeah, what if you can't? Yeah. What if they just don't care about the punitive connection?
Yes. And what if it really is impossible to protect every block? Just think about that. At the end of the day, if these young dudes walking around with it on them, right? And you do lock people up, but there's so many people out here, and they hunting. Let's just call it what it is. They ain't got no other means. They've decided that the way they're gonna get whatever they're trying to get is to take it from whoever they see. You know what I mean? My fear is, and I've heard arguments though. I've heard arguments that having armed citizens, armed residents, is what some people call like a neutralizer, right? And I know that a lot of conceal and carry registrations have went up, and I'm not here to tell nobody not to protect them and their family. Wouldn't even dare. But I do foresee us moving in that direction, because the reality could be that what I was getting at, what my fear is though, if we get to that point that every time somebody sees a group of young black men, they're gonna profile. Just like we were talking about the police profiling, they gonna profile. They gonna be just shooting at people, kids, because every young man or a boy or girl out here, we have some beautiful youth in this city, man. I believe all of them beautiful, but we have some doing on the straight and narrow, not doing nothing. But fashion is fashion. They all wear the same thing. They, you know what I'm saying? When I be over you and your market, I be seeing it a lot. The youngest be coming from.
I was there today and witnessed it myself.
Know what I mean?
Today, yeah.
And you know, I'm like, dang man, everybody they come, everybody tense up, everybody. You know what I mean? Them straight, them might be 4.0 students, man.
It's like in Spain when the Bulls come around the corner. That's how they look over there.
Don't nobody want to have red on. That's how it is. And I can only imagine what's happening behind, like the conversations that we don't hear. But I've witnessed how the security guards, you know what I mean, pull up on the youngins and all that.
I mean, I was a part of discussions with their team over there in my previous capacity about how to handle the situation.
Yeah.
And you know, the unfortunate reality is that there are situations where you know, kids get lumped into it, and it's an assumption that they all are doing it, and
that's
it's not.
It's not.
It's
and
like
that's
a handful.
dangerous. And some of them cutting up, but not all of them. And the mere presence, can't be a threat. And that's what that's what I hope don't happen.
Well, let's go back a little bit. I'm gonna bring this story up. I know you remember this. Years ago, we were on a walkthrough around Trinidad, and an unmarked car pulled up, and it was two men that got out in police regalia.
Yeah. Volunteer, y'all.
And they were volunteer police officers. You remember that night?
I definitely do.
So, just for the audience, it blew my mind.
I heard volunteer firemen. I ain't no volunteer
So
police.
we were out there. This had to be about 2015 or so, maybe. And there was a walkthrough, and Councilmember at the time, Ward 5 Councilmember Kenya McDuffie asked us to come out there with him to do a walkthrough, and it was white shirt officers, some beat officers, community members, property owners, because the area we were in was like a lot of multi-units. So there were people who were residents and people who were owners who lived remotely but were coming around about the challenges with crime. So we walk in, and the folks that are leading it, the ANCs and MPD, they're doing their thing. And there's one guy who is a white shirt officer, lieutenant, captain, I forgot what his title was. But this unmarked car pulls up. Two relatively young white men get out the car. They got the whole MPD uniform on. And I could tell that the MPD officers that were on site didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, he stops the conversation that he's having with us as a bigger group. And one of the guys kind of whispers in his ear. And he's like, oh, man, I got to tell y'all this. So he tells the audience, like, these are volunteer officers. And he goes into this program, you know, this description of the program.
Right.
And it's unbeknownst to any of us, I never knew that was even a thing. They had everything except, they had the guns, too.
They had the guns. They just didn't have the car.
They couldn't respond to, what he said was they couldn't respond to calls directly. They could back up.
Yeah, they can back up, though.
And you and I were just standing back there. And I think we knew one of the officers that was on the walk. So we asked that woman, like, yo, was this real? And she was like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
And what we thought about then, and this reminds me of it now in this conversation, is that the kind of person who feels compelled to do that is possibly a person that is in that space where I'm doing this to protect my neighborhood. I'm doing this to, and are they thinking about this from a compassionate perspective when compassion is needed? Yeah. Can they differentiate between shifting gears from being aggressive when you have to be versus
because if you, again, when you demonize like all, quote unquote, all the youngins, you know, and I'm not just not about them, but I'm saying regular citizens. We and I had a run in with some youngins around my way. You remember I told you?
Oh yeah,
trying to break into Joan and all that. But it's like, and I was saddened by that interaction with them. But I realize I can't, but I can't take that and be like, all them youngins just the hell with them. I know we feel like that. I understand. I mean, want to tell people I get that, but do you understand what happens when that happens? That's what happened to our generation in this city. You know what I mean? We the super predator era. That's what happened. They wrote us off. And that's, again, causal to what we seeing today.
Yeah, I think, and so it's not just the people who don't have direct experience that are writing them off. I'm seeing people who come from what we come from doing that. And you know what's happening also? We didn't talk about this. I don't even know if we got time today to talk about it, but like everybody talks about the parents.
Mm-hmm.
And I see people online talking about it's the parents. And you snuck out the house to go to the black hole in 91.
Yeah.
You was jumping in them cars in 92 and 93.
Wow, you for real.
You was wilding.
Your grandmother should have went to jail? Like, let's let it go.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of people have like, they holier than thou at this point. Certain people be shocking me with their perspective. Like, did you forget?
Yeah.
And for real, I'm saying, did you even forget you just drove home twisted the other night? I mean, when we be judging, you know what I'm saying? You could have hit somebody. You know, just, you know what I'm saying? I just, as a community, bro, like, we cannot not give grace, man. That's all I'm saying. That also doesn't mean that people shouldn't be held accountable for bad decisions, right? Not at all. You know what I'm saying? Nah, that's not what I'm saying at all. But we have to understand how we all, you know, the role we play, all of us, in this. You know what I'm saying? But something has to change. But to me, addressing poverty is going to be the only way, for real. The only way. Because you can't, if we were to map, we did an economic mapping of everybody at DC jail, all the youngest adjudicated with DYS. Did a median income of those people or their families. You know what I'm saying? For real, we're really, I don't care what part of the city they from, live in, but if we did it, bro, it would tell us you would be like, oh, dang, like, this is not an excuse. You understand what I'm saying? My point is that, like, when you look at the young people that are thriving the most, you know what I mean? What is that profile? And so we know what it really takes to be successful, not only in this city, but in this country. You're going to have some outliers all the time. That's how human beings are. But by the numbers, bro. You understand what I'm saying? By the numbers. So, you know, I don't understand why we aren't uber focused on the communities where we see these people. You know, why aren't we uber focused on like really committing to those communities thriving?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Why aren't we? You know, why do we expect that things are just going to change because we lower the hammer even more?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's it. I just want, and I really want us to ask ourselves that. Arrest her up, people being stepped back. Like you asked me, am I afraid? I asked the public. So have our measures from a public safety standpoint that have led to more people going to jail? Do you feel safer? Because for real, y'all, some of the people that we stepping back or removing, some of them people were the people that maybe could have helped some of this slow down. Now his removal now we ain't got no inroads to that little crew over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm trying to say? Like, but I still remain optimistic. I feel like we have what it takes already established. We just gotta coordinate it. You know what I'm saying? And we gotta infuse it with credible people that can be bridges and liaisons to the people that need these services the most. You can't keep sending a homeboy who just got here a year ago. You can't. I don't care, or the sister who just, I don't care what you can say, but you can't send them alone. You can send them, but you can't send them alone. You got to put them with a good man or
And
a
they
good
have to
woman.
have a spirit of
Yeah, they gotta
wanting to
get
learn too.
facts. That's right. And they gotta value and respect, you know, the communities that they serving in, the people that they serving in all. When these people coming in walking like they got all the answers, like they the savior and all that. I'm telling you, man. It's Washington D.C., bro. This joint different.
And I think what is the underlying necessary component for me is that no solution, no potential solution is going to work and be sustainable until the people introducing and executing those potential solutions have in mind a concern for the culprit.
Yeah.
Because
Man.
if your mindset is that person is interfering with my ability to feel safe, if that person is, how do I put this? If they are a nuisance, if I've reduced them to that, right? You're in the way, you're a nuisance, let's get rid of them. No matter how bright you think your idea is, if you don't come from that perspective of, I want to help that person versus that person is a nuisance to me, then your solution that you're proposing is not going, it's going to fall. It's going to fall.
And that's profound, because I think, for real, most people cannot truly internalize helping somebody who has hurt somebody.
Yeah. It's tough.
No,
It's tough.
it is, and I get it. I get it, but the paradigm shift has to be rooted in that your efforts, your interventions, your work is aimed on helping that person not to hurt somebody else. Right? So even if you can't rationalize helping that person just for the sake of that person's humanity, look at it that you helping this person stabilize could prevent that person from harming somebody else.
Yeah.
And I hope people can use that to be more open. You know what I mean?
If we don't ever stop and say, "That I wonder what the suspect needs help with."
Facts.
And again, this is not justifying or making an excuse for the activity.
Correct.
But I think what it is getting
Correct.
at is we have this mentality of like, just like you said earlier, like I just want to
Throw
fight
'em
my
away.
hands, and it's like it don't work like that.
Don't.
It don't work like that.
It does not. And we've seen we're living in what that gets us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That'd be my thing. Like, yo, like, how you think we got here?
Yeah.
Because we did that. Throw 'em away. Boom. Throw 'em away. And even when they come back, oh, he home, but he can't do that. Or he can't live right here.
Yeah.
Or you know what I'm saying? What do you think that creates? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, that's So to answer your question, I ain't afraid, but I'm getting close. And I think the biggest thing I'm afraid of, honestly, and I think this is the fear of many Washingtonians. Like, I don't want nobody to hurt me, but I also don't want to hurt nobody. I mean, I don't want to be put in a position where I gotta defend my life. You know what I mean? Or the life of my wife or my children. I don't want to be in that situation. You know what I mean? And it's unfortunate that people have to consider that. Upstanding, good people that ain't bothering nobody in the world, man. You know what I'm saying? And that's problematic, bro. And that's unfortunate. There's people that just getting up, going to work every day, or running their businesses, taking care of their families, going to their places of worship, going to their kids' game, whatever, going to enjoy themselves, going to get coffee, going to get a drink, hanging out with friends. You know what I mean? You gotta worry about being victimized. And again, ain't nobody gonna keep letting you just take from them, bro. For them youngins out there, like seriously, y'all ain't like yo, what you always say, man. What you always say, Joe?
It ain't gonna always go your way.
Oh,
It ain't gonna always go your way.
it's not.
You think it's gonna go your
It's
way?
not.
It's not. It's
It's
not.
not.
It's not.
And you know, I was thinking about they were saying that the Rod Wave concert supposedly was more than like
230
cars, right?
something cars.
But dig, that's in the same vicinity where. That's what I'm saying about where the 13-year-old
Oh yeah, it is right
got
there.
shot, right?
It is right there.
And that night, that was the Wizards opening season opener. And I would think that probably they was down there because of that. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people be down there, right? That's an assumption, but think about that. That happened. That was everywhere, and still.
So we talking about trying to increase sentencing, but it's the likelihood of kids getting killed carjacking is increasing. You think that's stopping them?
That's my point, bro.
You think that kid getting killed stopping them?
That ain't. They still went right back, same spot. 200. You know, it's police all down there, and 200 and some cars got broken into. That's the reality of where we are. Our best intervention strategy has to be to get to the hearts and the minds, bro. You're not scaring them.
Yeah.
You're not scaring them by somebody they know getting, or he just was bull. He should, listen to them two kids argue. You're not rationalizing with that. That's our logic is not gonna. Yeah, they ain't thinking about. Yeah, they right back down there.
Yeah, and again, not to belabor the point, but let me kind of unpack a little bit why I believe they aren't necessarily as alarmed at 13, right? Your friend gets killed. Let's say you in a clique that do that.
Yeah.
Y'all jacking, right? Maybe you weren't with them that night when that happened and they got killed, but like you 13 and your friend gets killed, he's 13. You can't picture what 25 and 30 and 40 looks like. So if he's dead, the first 6 months, it's just like maybe he moved away, right? Or he at his grandmother's house. You just ain't seen him in a while, right? But then on the flip side, it's like, how many summers were you really with him before that? You might have met him at 11.
Yeah.
So it's a bond, but it's not long enough where you couldn't potentially get over it.
They don't really understand what it means to die.
To die. They don't even really understand what it means to die. They don't have a full understanding of that. Yeah. They don't understand it.
So what you thinking from your adult perch gonna be impactful? Yeah, see, he ain't playing with them youngins. I get it. But I'm just saying that it ain't about how we feel about it. That ain't scaring them.
Yeah, I mean, I remember friends of mine getting locked up at 13, 14. It was like life moved on. Yeah. They was gone. You know, some of them never came back after that. Some of them did. You know, you got love for them, right? But at 13, 14, you're not processing that the way that we are.
Like that's what I'm saying. It's like the things that we think, you know what I mean, gonna be the answer is not. That's all I'm saying. You know what I mean? We gotta have that part has to exist, right? But we gotta have the other stuff, man, and we gotta feel just as strongly, just as confident in the other stuff. You know, it's not an either or. You know what I mean?
Yeah, opportunity has to meet.
No
opportunity has to meet
it's no
that
question.
Same level that we had with the punitive side.
It has to be. We gotta want that too. Yeah. We should be appalled as a city that black unemployment is 9 times that of white unemployment. We should be appalled, and that just means the people that's trying to get a job. You feel me?
Some people in despair, they just gave up.
DC's leader in opioid overdose, and it's overwhelmingly black men. When you look at who unemployed, overwhelmingly black men. When you look at who dying, overwhelmingly black men. Just think about that. Or males, boys and adults, boys and men. Just think about that. This is real. That ain't nobody opinion. Those are numbers. Those the facts.
And when you look at pregnancy, there's a man responsible for that.
Yeah. Yes.
He's a man. He responsible for that. He not counting the data, but for every woman
facts.
pregnant, there's a man.
Facts.
Yeah.
And even with that, infant mortality for in DC the highest in America. Black women.
Yeah.
We are in a state of emergency. Who been saying that for the anyway?
Yeah.
But for real. So all these people be on. I be seeing these tweets and this all that. You know what I mean? And yeah, but it's time for us to we need to see some we got a state of emergency for the youth, for the opioids, you know what I'm saying? I look forward to seeing what that means and what comes out of that. But again, I'm optimistic, man.
Yeah.
We just can't let these troubling times fracture us as a community. We should be coming together. You know what I'm saying? And it's like people have gotten so accustomed to these wars on, these social media wars and picking a side, and you can't feel this way and that. Like two things can't be true at the same time. It's nuts.
So to that point, and I think this is how we can, bring this conversation to a close for now, at least. Bringing people together is going to cause us to get out of our comfort zone and start speaking to more people in our neighborhood that we normally wouldn't have.
Come on, man.
Let me keep the light on. I know you come in a little late. You live next door. We don't really talk a lot, but I'm going to keep my light on.
Facts.
So when you come in at 10 from your job or whatever the case may be, I'm going to keep a little bit of an eye out. If you don't mind telling me you going out of town, I'll keep an eye out for your packages. Yeah. It's going to be those small things.
Yeah, but that's really where real public safety begin.
Yeah.
We can't be, like you said, full of strangers, and then we expect, so when homes walk up that don't even one of us know, you know what I'm saying?
It's already understood.
Yeah.
So that's the first step. We got to be better neighbors and have concern for other people. And when we create that muscle memory of having concern for other people, then we can begin having concern for the people that's in harm's way, that are the stats that we talk about.
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts.
So with that, we're gonna definitely have this conversation on and on and on and on.
No, man.
But for now, we're gonna end it here by saying that, I know a lot of people are potentially afraid and they have fear in their hearts about what's happening, but I think we got to find ways to maybe take a break from some of those alerts on the phone and some of those conversations online.
Yeah.
And just find our own ways, our own outlets, our own opportunities to get away from what we see in the newsreels, and be better neighbors, be better friends, seek out friendship, seek out neighborly relationships, and stick together as much as we can.
That's
and
important,
we appreciate folks for listening and watching again. Heart of the City on YouTube, and we got the page. Like it, subscribe, leave some comments. We want to hear back from you.
No question.
With respect to your perspective on this conversation and all the conversations that we have. So until we see you guys again, take care, be safe, be vigilant, and be a good neighbor.
Play your mirrors.
Yeah.
Peace. Peace and love.